Okay. Um, Good evening, everyone. As I promised that I will go through the last study session, which is study session 4 and study session 5 of module 3, even though it's fully covered under your assignment. But as I promised, I will discuss about the most important points that you need to take note of while doing your assignment, as well as while preparing for your exams. So module 3 is all about examology, study session 5, examology 3. There we'll talk about some study session, study session 4. In study session 4, these are the assignment topics. So the assignment topic covered study session 4 and study session 5. So in study session 4, I will basically talk about enzyme activity, Maclaurin equation, and some linear form derivations of Maclaurin equation. So under this, basically, we asked the group to discuss on enzyme activity. Remember, we talked about an enzyme, and we define an enzyme as a biological catalyst, which is usually a protein, and in some cases, it could be a ready body that speed up a chemical reaction. How does an enzyme speed up chemical reaction? We mentioned that it is done simply by lowering the activation energy. So, talking about an enzyme activity, discussing enzyme activity, then we'll be talking about the speed, how fast an enzyme converts a substrate or converts a reactant to a product, which simply means the rate at which an enzyme converts a substrate to a product. Simply, this is what we call the enzyme activity. So this rate can be measured in terms of enzyme activity, how many of an enzyme will convert a specific amount of a substrate, or how many substrate will uh, uh, will an enzyme be able to convert by a unit time, by given time, what is the concentration of a substrate called an enzyme be able to change from a substrate to a product, or how many product will an enzyme produce by unit time. So we're talking about the definition. Then we define enzyme activity as the amount of enzyme required to convert 1 micromole of a substrate to product by minute under a specific condition. So based on this definition, we have the enzyme activity unit as 1 micromole per minute. But the international unit for enzyme activity is Cartel. The Cartel is the amount of enzyme required to convert 1 mole of a substrate to product per second. The amount, what concentration of an enzyme that converts 1 mole of a substrate to product per second. Per every second, what concentration of an enzyme will convert 1 mole of a substrate. This is the unit. And then we talk about specific activity. In specific activity, we're talking about, we are signifying it's all about the enzyme purity. How does the enzyme purity also affect even the efficiency in terms of the activity of the enzyme? So specific activity deals with the amount of the enzyme or the enzyme activity per milligram of the total protein. Maybe 1 milligram of the protein, what is the activity of the enzyme? Invariably, it goes back to the concentration of the enzyme, but in a total protein concentration, there's a specific protein, those proteins that have this enzymatic activity, what is the concentration per milligram? Or what is the concentration of the substrate will that 1 milligram of protein convert? That also signifies specific activity. So a specific activity, like we said, we are talking about the purity of the enzyme, and it's all about the concentration or the activity of an enzyme per a milligram of a protein. If you have 1 milligram of a protein or 1 milligram of your total protein, what is the activity of the enzyme in that protein? And then we talk about turnover number. In turnover number, we are dealing with the catalytic power of an enzyme. How many substrate will be catalyze the product by an enzyme by unit time, per given time? How many? What is the concentration of the substrate will be converted to product? So we also talk about maximum velocity, where we say that it's actually achieved when the active site of an enzyme is saturated. So when you have the concentration, the maximum, you have high concentration of the substrate, and the substrate feel the active site of that will have what we call maximum velocity. And maximum velocity, the substrate concentration. Also, we mentioned AM, that is the concentration of the substrate when the active site of an enzyme saturated. So that's basically the things you're supposed to know. But for the assignment aspect, actually to talk about the enzyme activity, specific activity, that's all. So but basic definitions, these are the definitions of the basic standard of this enzyme activity, specific activity, turnover number, melting velocity, Km, which we already discussed about Km and even melting velocity in the previous classes. And then those of you that will write Michaelis-Menten equation, discuss how the Michaelis-Menten equation come about. Then we talk about the linear form of Michaelis-Menten equation. We talk about the learning level plot. We talk about the Hudson and equations. So that is that for study session 4.